everyone, welcome back to the Mom's View. I'm Kaylee, this is Colette and Carly, and we're happy that you guys are back with us today. Do you guys have any updates?
Update. I feel like that's like the $1 million question and it's not that hard to answer.
No. What are my updates? What's happening? Have you had a second to stop and think about what's going on in your life?
Right?
I don't know. I guess the forefront of my mind lately is Logan's getting married.
Oh yeah.
So we need to like
buy clothes. I know. I was looking at pregnant dresses for like 20-ish weeks. I'm like, what am I gonna wear?
Yeah, I'm excited.
That's crazy, and my little brother's getting married.
Is that such a weird feeling?
He's always seemed really mature to me. Really maturely immature.
We love you, Logan.
That's
All
exciting.
nothing but love.
Yes, and we're excited to have Morgan in our family. So that's been on the forefront of my mind. Is like, okay, we get to pick out dresses and like buy the little boys their
So
little
fun to have summer
outfits.
weddings.
Yeah, it'll be fun.
I know my mom just dropped the bomb on me that I'm like hosting their dinner, and I was like, I don't want to do that.
You'll be
But
so
I did
good at
make
it,
Logan host my dinner, but he did such a
did a
good
really good
job.
job.
Like out of nowhere, he just did such a good job. I was really proud of him. We just started plans for our basement.
Ooh, nice.
Stressful and fun. And
Are you
so
gonna try to have it
decisions.
done before the baby?
Yeah, we told the guy that we're working with, like, we have to have this done for our baby. Because, so upstairs, we have Elliot's and Cooper's room and our bedroom, and we're moving Cooper downstairs, and the baby's room, the new baby's room will be Cooper's old room.
Okay.
Because he's, like, ready to have his more mature room, you know? And so it's, like, a perfect transition, because I want to get him a bigger bed and just make him more, like
his little space.
teenage-ish room. Yeah.
I was worried about moving Gage to the basement, but he loves it.
Yeah, I think they're like at getting to that independent age. I know. I didn't love the basement. I always had a room upstairs, even when I was like 18.
Really?
I'm gonna live with you forever, Mom and Dad, and then right next to you. So that's been exciting, and it's just like when you're not in that realm of the world, you like, you know, pull up pictures on Pinterest and you think anything's possible, and then the contractor brings you back down to reality. I'm like, oh, we can't have a water slide down here? Fine, okay.
Fine, I'll find a different contractor.
Yeah, right.
Make it happen.
Someone will tell me yes.
Jackson
I love when
always
they're
be
like, oh, sorry.
no, go ahead.
No, you.
Same thing, Jackson will just be like, that's not realistic. I'm like, okay, fine.
Yeah. Or they're like, you can do that, but you know it's going to be like a lot of money. And then you're like, okay,
Like, why?
fine.
It's just an extra hole and some cement. That hole in cement is like another $5,000, and you're just like, oh.
Like, fine. I'll build a fake fireplace then.
So it is an exciting thing, but like also stressful,
Yeah.
you know, because
I'm
you're just
excited
like,
for you.
I know, it will be nice. The house that we're in now is like perfect, but once it's finished, it will be a 6-bedroom house. So it will be big, and I'm really excited. We're doing like a theater room and a guest room. So now when I feel like we entertain, we can stretch out a little bit, because when I have family over, it's like we're all in one couple rooms. So I don't know, it will just be nice to have more space, and we've worked hard to be able to get it done. So finally I feel like, yay!
Yes.
Awesome. Yeah.
Are you gonna get a yard put in this summer?
Well, we're working on the shop right now, Casey's shop. And
That's fun.
I really hope we get a yard.
It's
Layla
so
wants
nice
to
to have
play
grass.
outside.
Yeah.
I mean, my boys love the dirt. They dug a
Right.
hole out there, just a random hole.
I know
Winston,
that
like,
they were all peeing in the other
Yeah.
night.
The boy cousins peed in the
There's
same hole. I
that.
was like, oh.
Boys just
Boys,
pee in holes.
yeah.
It's fine.
and Winston loves like cruising around on in my backyard, like on the dirt and like the hills, and
so
so
fun.
he's loving it.
Cute.
But Layla watches him and wants to go out there so bad. So I hope we get a yard.
Yeah, grass for summer is
Stressful. I told Casey he's in charge of that.
go for it.
Okay, well, we are going to continue on with our Twitter questions from last week because we had so many good ones. So the first one that I wanted to talk about, this is kind of like a deeper one. I don't know. I guess
I'm nervous.
I guess it's not a deeper one. This may be hard for me to answer. Okay, this is from Tara Hodge, and she asks, any advice for couples who are trying to save themselves for marriage? And what age range do you think couples should get married? Love you guys so much. We love you too.
We do love you.
So, any advice?
Okay. Advice for couples that are trying to save themselves.
Like, I liked this
What?
question
No, no, no.
because I think I liked this question, but yeah.
Why me? That's hard. I mean, you both have to be on the same page, obviously, if you want to save yourself till marriage, because it's hard. Like,
Yeah.
gosh, you love each other. Like, why wait, right? But I don't know. I think just simple setting boundaries for yourselves. Like, don't lie down together. I know that's really hard, but like, don't be alone in a bedroom together. Like, it's hard. It's definitely difficult, but I don't know. This is what I tell my kids. Like, you need to if you want something, you have to make the decision and make it every day. Like, don't make it when you're faced with the decision.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, oh crap, what do I do now? It's like, you already know what you're going to do. So
Have your mind made up before.
yeah, like
That's very good advice.
I mean, you have to kind of strengthen your mind to do what you want it to do.
Yeah.
Honestly.
Because then it's not even on the table as an option. Like, nope, we already decided this. We're not doing this, remember?
Yeah, because you will get tempted. You will get in that
Oh my gosh,
situation
yeah.
where you're like, this is really difficult and let's just, why wait? But if you've already made that decision and you've also weighed out, like, why am I doing this? What is the reasoning behind doing this? And, that will help you be strong.
Yeah.
I don't know. And setting yourself little rules, like, not lying down together, maybe setting yourself a curfew.
Yeah.
Like, and Shay and I, we did that. We waited. And I just remember, like, I don't know, I'm getting emotional all of a sudden. That first night that we spent together was like, it was magic. It really felt like magic because it was like, I get to sleep with you tonight and I get to spend the night with you and I get to wake up with you. And, we hadn't done that before. Like, we did have instances where we had a family event or something and I stayed, at your house, like your family's house, but, different bedrooms. But it was like we woke up in each other's arms and it was like beautiful. And I understand that can still happen if you're not, married. But it was almost like we worked so hard to get to this point to where it was just so rewarding. It really was. It was exciting. And so, I don't know. That would be my advice, is really set yourself rules and make sure you know why you're doing it and make the decision beforehand. And I say that with anything, like if you don't want to drink alcohol, if you don't want to, do drugs, you need to make that decision in, when you're little and be like, okay, this is my decision, this is my decision, this is my decision. So then when you're in that situation, you're at a party, it's like, no, or you don't even go to the party because it's going to be there. Like, you just know, I'm not going to go there. So
I love that you said, and know why. Don't just, no, because I'm not doing it just because. I think you need more grounding than that.
Yeah.
You need to understand, like, walk yourself. Like, if I try alcohol, it might be fun, but what if I am an addictive personality, or the cops come, or like, why don't I want to personally have alcohol or have sex before marriage or whatever it is? Like, you need to have grounding for your reasoning so that you're not just like, no, just because because you're going to get tempted hard.
Yeah.
And it's going to get harder and harder and harder to say no. I had sex before I was married with my first marriage, and that was just, I was like in such a weird place in my life. I was just really young. I had never been intimate with a guy at all. And so I just kind of felt like I was with such an older guy. So I'm not like putting it on him, but I didn't have my grounding and I didn't have my reasoning. And in high school, it was just easy. It was like, no, I'll get in trouble. It's like not what you do. But I don't think that I had taken time to explore for myself, like, why does Carly not want to do these things?
Right.
Not because my parents are telling me it's bad or my religion, but like, what about me believes that this is wrong? And I didn't really know. I was just like young and just unsure. So with Jackson, it was so much harder because we didn't have sex before we were married, but we had both had sex. So it was like, we knew what it was like. And when you're in love, like, you're in love. And it is a natural feeling. I don't think it's something you need to feel guilty for or shame yourself for. I always teach Jackson, I'm like, why are we so tempted to have sex before we're married? And now, like, you get into the rhythm and the groom, like, should we have sex tonight? And you're like not tempted at all. It's just a part of marriage. But I feel like you really need to know for yourself, other than what your parents tell you or your culture or your religion. Like, you need to have your grounding for why it makes sense for you. And I think with Jackson and I, like, we both knew that we had a greater goal in mind, and that was we wanted to honor our religion and God. And so it was easy when things got really, really tempting. Like, we both could be on the same page because we both had the same goal. And it wasn't just because our parents will get mad or they'll catch us,
Yeah.
But everyone is different, and it's like I'm glad I can open up about it now. I don't feel shy. I used to feel like, oh, but there's so many more people that don't believe or do believe, like, I don't know. Does that make sense? It's like I'm going all over.
A lot of people want to wait for different reasons. It doesn't always have to be a religious thing.
Yeah.
It can just be for wanting to wait for that one special person. Casey and I didn't wait, and it was something that I always thought that I would do. Like, I said it in my mind when I was younger, I'm gonna wait until I'm married, and that's what I thought, and it happened, and it kind of like threw us both off. We weren't expecting it. We weren't ready, and it's a hard thing to talk about, and I have talked to Braylee about it. So that, like, what I tell Braylee is I don't regret it because I love Casey, but I don't feel like, I don't know how to say this. I thought when it happened, it was okay because I loved him so much. Yeah. Like, I love him. He's the only person that I'll ever be with, and so it made it okay. But talking to Braylee, and the advice that I give her is that you can love someone without doing that.
Yeah.
And when you can share that on your wedding night, what an amazing thing. It will be magical. My wedding night was still magical, and it was special, and it was different, and it didn't take away from that. But I remember thinking, how amazing would this be if this was our first time?
Yeah. Something I talked to Jackson about is, like, I think it was Snoop Dogg. I can't even remember for sure. I'm pretty sure it's like the story of Snoop Dogg. He was explaining it to his daughter of like having a bowl of candy. And like, you love candy. That's your most favorite candy. Of course you want to like have that treat all for yourself. But if you go around and give everyone a piece of your treat and your candy, at the end of the day, you're not going to have anything left for you. And I think that sex is a really tricky thing because it's there's so many emotions involved. There's so many hormones involved. There's like a science involved, like that you physically and emotionally can connect with somebody. And so I think that that's not spoken about enough. Like, because sex isn't always a magical thing. Sometimes it's painful and sometimes it's awkward. And like, it's not, I think that just the conversation isn't talked about with sex enough. Like, if it's your first time on your wedding night, it probably might not be magical. It might be painful if you're a girl. Like, I was still so shy around Jackson that I had laundry on, but I put his t-shirt on over my laundry and it came out, and I was like, can you turn off the lights? And he was like, Carly. And now I wish, like, looking at my body back then, I'm like, I should have just freaking cartwheeled out there naked. But I think that, like, it doesn't need to be a taboo subject. It doesn't need to be a shameful subject. People mess up. People do things before they've come to know who they are. And I think that's the most important part, is sometimes if you're too young and you're making these bigger decisions for yourself, you need to be in a place where you've come to know who you are and what you want in life and what you stand for. And sometimes that might mean making mistakes until you get there, but that doesn't take away from who you are in the end picture.
Right, absolutely.
And I think the guilt needs to, like, totally not be something part of the picture.
Get rid of it.
Yeah, and that's what I tried to talk and be honest with Braylee about. That's something I would never hide from her.
Yeah.
But, and something that I want her to know that I understand. So,
yeah.
But I do love what you said, like, decide now. Decide what you want now.
Yeah.
And
know why you're making that decision for yourself and nobody else.
Yeah.
And be careful with it, because it's a slippery slope. No pun intended. But you know what I'm saying? Like,
and it can be like, I don't know. I agree with you guys. Like, don't feel like, you're gonna make mistakes in life, and like, don't let that take away from still going after what you want, or still, staying the course. But I was thinking, with talking to your kids about it, I think that my kids are like, they don't even ask me anymore, because when kids are like, but why? Like, I always thought, I don't want to say just because, I want them to know, like, why. And so I love that you're super open with Braylee and things, because I don't know, I feel like I still, when they ask, it's like I go into this big, okay, well, this is why this and this and this. And then my kids, like Avia, she's so funny. She's like, Mom, I need to ask you a question, but I don't want you to go off on a big tangent. I just need you to say yes or no.
It's hard, like you're trying to find, you're trying to find what you want to say, and then a lot comes out, and you're like, did you get anything from that? From everything I just said?
It's like, I want to support them, and I don't know, because I want them to know, like, your life is in your hands. It's your responsibility to do what you want. And it's also your responsibility to love yourself through your mistakes. Because you're going to make them. And like, I feel like life is so stressful when you just think, okay, I need to do this, and I have to do this, and I have to do this. And if I don't do that, what's going to happen to me? Like, just, you're human, and like, set a goal in life. do what you want. Don't allow others to persuade you in what you want, but also forgive yourself if it doesn't work out the way you wanted it, because that is not how life usually works. Like, we learn from everything that is thrown at us and everything that happens to us, and that's almost a part of the journey that you can just be grateful for. You know,
I think if you're doubting it or questioning it at all, chances are you're not ready. You know, like if you're unsure, just maybe wait even longer. And don't hold others to the same standard and accountability as you hold yourself to. If they are having sex and you want to, or you're not sure, don't think that you need to do what they're doing. And if people aren't and you are, like, I just think there needs to be no judgment and no accountability for others. Just own your own self. You do you, boo-boo.
Yeah. That's so hard when you're like a teenager.
This one is from Ash. How do you get back into a routine after having a baby? I'm really struggling with being a good wife and homemaker now that I have this new little life to take care of. And I feel like I'm kind of drowning. I get it.
Yeah.
I so get it.
That's a part of motherhood, is the drowning feeling.
Every single night when you go to bed, you're like, I didn't do anything right today. That's not true. You should feel that way. I think that it's okay to find a new routine, and it's okay to not be a perfect wife or a perfect mom, because there's no such thing.
Right.
And I think you have to give yourself a break and let people in your life help. Your husband can cook. My husband cooks. You know, that doesn't make you a bad wife because you don't cook every single night.
Yeah.
Or, you know, this is what I always think. My house is a mess. Every day, no matter what I do, my house is a mess. And every day when I'm cleaning up, I remind myself, one day I'm really going to miss this. One day I'm really going to miss like picking up toys. And it is 100% true. And sometimes I'm telling myself that and I'm not believing it. But that is really true. One day you will miss the chaos and the mess, and it's hard right now. It's so hard. I want to have nice things, and I want to have a nice house, and it's just a mess most often. But then I think, what would my life look like if my house was perfect and my life was perfect? It would look like I had no kids. And I just don't ever want that. And so I think just coming up with new routines, that's kind of what I've done after every single child.
I think you hit the nail on the head. Give yourself a break.
Yeah.
And I know that's so much easier said than done, because I've been totally in your shoes where you just feel like your whole life is turned upside down, and it has, and that's okay. But that is the nature of life, is you're never going to be in the same phase forever. You know, even with, you know, your second kid or your third kid, like, it's different. It's always different, and you have to readjust and recalibrate and just figure things out. But the main thing is give yourself a break.
Yeah.
You know, even if you're feeling pressure from outside of yourself, like, you know, from your partner or your parents or your kids or whatever, like, if you're feeling that pressure, you need to, like, cut all the cords around you and be like, guys, this is what I need right now, and this is how it's gonna be. You know, like, you just got to give yourself a break. And I think that is sometimes the hardest, is maybe the people around us really don't, I don't know, they're not putting as much pressure on us as we're putting on ourselves.
Like, Jackson will say that. He's like, what standards are you holding yourself accountable to? Your standards that you've set for yourself, or mine? Because I don't have the same standards for you.
Right.
And it's like, sometimes in our heads we make up these impossible things, like I have had to cook and do all the laundry and all the work and everything should be perfect, and no one actually around you is expecting that. You know?
Right.
So don't hold yourself to that. I was listening to a podcast by Tim Ferriss, and he was saying, this is like a little bit of the tough love. You guys are very nice. I'm like, okay, tough love. Do the one thing that you know will make you feel successful in the day, and then just try your best at everything else. And like, there's certain things that I think each of us need to accomplish that make us feel like, oh, that was a good day.
Yeah.
Usually for me, it was working out. Like, even if I worked out 10 to 15 to 20 minutes, like, I just feel more successful for the day, even if I really don't do anything else. Or if I get a big project done and I know I need to do that, like, just do the one thing that you know will make you feel successful for the rest of the day, and then everything else can just kind of like happen as it happens. And I realize, like, when I have a good day of work and I upload all my videos and I do perfectly there, there's other areas in my life I know that just aren't gonna be perfect because I did the one thing I needed to do. So if you like cooked a beautiful meal but your laundry's not done and your house is a mess, focus on the one thing that you did get done and celebrate that, because you can't do it all, and it's exhausting to hold yourself to that standard. And it's depressing, you know?
It really is. It's like hamster wheel that you can't get off of.
Yeah.
And I think before you know it, your baby will be grown. We were just talking about this. Like, you look back at pictures from your babies and they're big before you know it because there is all this pressure. So you're not just sitting there with your baby. You're trying to get everything done with the baby, and then time just goes by so fast. So
there was like this little viral video on Facebook, and it shows the mom of a life, and she has 2 girls, and she's like trying to play with them, and she's trying to keep the house clean and make them. It shows like the mom side of like running to the grocery store and trying to get them in the car, and they're crying and putting them down for naps, and the dad comes home. Oh my gosh, I hope I don't cry. And he's talking to the little girls, and I'm pregnant. I'm blaming on pregnancy. And the little girl's like, yeah, today mommy played with me and she napped with me. And in the mom's like eyes, she was seeing everything she had done wrong. But the little girl's eyes, she was like, no, mommy played with me today and she took me to the store, and she saw everything that the mother was doing like on a good point. And I'm like, that's what you have to remember and like hang on to, is like the things that you're doing. You might not realize how much it's helping your kids, even though like your kids don't care if your house is clean. And I'm the worst at that. Like, where's the Clorox wipes? And Cooper's always like, Mom, it's not important. But I love that video. It was so cute.
that is sweet.
That is sweet.
Just know you're not alone. We all know what
you.
you're going through. It's really hard, and it does feel like you're drowning. There are so many days that I'm like, I'm drowning, and I'm just gonna go take a nap.
I'm just gonna drown.
Today,
That's okay.
I'm
Just
taking
turn
a
on
nap.
Netflix.
Yeah.
That's fine.
Give yourself a break.
Okay, you guys ready for the next one? This one's kind of funny. I feel like I'm like relating to this too, and the last one, and the one before. I feel like I just messed up. Anyways, okay, this is
We
from
feel you guys.
this is from Erin Chavez, and that's really close to my maiden name. Cousins. I'm starting that over. Sorry, Taylor. Okay, this next one is from Erin Chavez, and it says, how to give your kids the world without raising spoiled brats. I feel like as a mom, I want to give my kids everything I didn't have, but I also want to raise them to be good, kind, selfless humans. Any tips to achieve balance? I get it.
I'm like, oh, guilty.
I mean, I don't know how to answer this because I don't know if I've done it right.
I know, I feel the same. I'm like, oh.
I think that that's just a normal parent struggle. Like, what do you do? I don't know. I feel like with my kids, I think back to, okay, what taught me the things that I needed to know that I feel like, you know, I should teach my kids. And I think hard work, you know, teaching them to work. And I've definitely been guilty of just not requiring things of them and just doing it for them. And I think that's hard because as a parent, you feel like you're helping them by doing things for them or getting them things or providing certain things for them. But sometimes you are, but sometimes it's like the reverse, where you're actually just causing them to neglect the learning for themselves. Does that make sense?
Like, I watch Cooper pick up, he has one of his chores is picking up dog poop, and I'll watch him out there just struggling, and it's not even that hard, and I'm like, I feel bad, I should go do that for him.
Right?
But that's like a perfect example of like, no, like your kids need to learn how to struggle, like that's how they learn. I'm grateful for the balance in my marriage because Jackson's like, his dad was really good about making him work hard, and he was very much the parent of like the love and logic idea. Like Jackson fell asleep on a job once with his dad when he was on a work job with him. And since he fell asleep in the work truck, his dad made him walk home. I would die. The whole time I'd be thinking he's gonna get abducted, like all these things are gonna go happen. I wouldn't tough love like that. But Jackson's the better parent at that role. And I think that that's good. Not that your kids need to suffer, but hard work is undervalued these days with kids.
Yes.
And I think like kids need chores and they need to understand that things come with work. And it is a balance, and I'm more of like, I spoil, I think, a little too much, and so it is hard. It's finding that balance because you don't want to see your kids suffer, but at the same time, you know, like a little portion of that is good for them.
Yeah.
I feel like over time, I've learned different things with Braylee. She was my only one, and I definitely feel like every time we went to the store, she got a toy. Every time we did this, she got something new, and I bought her stuff, and I bought her stuff, and I remember one day thinking like, is it ever going to be special on like Christmas morning when she gets something? And is she a spoiled brat because now she expects it, but she expects it because I did it. And so I remember finding that balance with her and then just over time kind of learning different things. The biggest thing to me is that I want to make sure my kids are grateful. And sometimes I think I might overdo it. Like, I'll be like, you guys know the sacrifice that I made so that you can have these things, so you can do the dishes without complaining, or you can take the garbage out without complaining, because I give to you guys and this is a family and we do things for each other. And then sometimes I feel like maybe I'm overdoing it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's hard.
So anyways, I sometimes feel like, where is the balance in that? Because I don't want them to feel like,
Do your kids like,
I don't know.
I know, like expect, or like a chore is like, okay, well, how much am I going to get paid for that? I'm like, nothing. That's your rent for living here. Because it's so easy to flip. Like, I'm with you. Like, you feel so bad. And then as soon as they challenge, like, well, how much am I going to get paid? Then I'm like, oh, really?
Right. How much are you going to pay me for making your dinner?
Yeah. How much are you going to pay me for birthing you to this world?
I definitely, like, Braylee wants to cheer, and cheer is expensive. And so she has chores that she has to get done because she cheers. Then I feel like, is that something that I should expect? Like this, for an activity that she's involved in, should I expect her to do chores? So, that's
I think the first step is like actually what she tweeted about is just being self-aware. Some parents, I swear, are just not aware at all. Like just even being aware that you don't want to spoil your kids or that you do want to help them stay grounded, I think is a great first step.
Yeah,
that's true.
Because some people I feel like it's not even a thing.
Yeah.
And they're usually the ones that you're like, oh.
That's true. And I feel like there's really no perfect way.
Yeah, that's true.
Because I feel like some days I do it good and some days I'm just like, wow, I really did not do that.
Kids' love languages are different. Yeah. Like some kids would appreciate a treat and some kids would appreciate you just spending time with them. So it's like you have to know your kids' love languages. I also think service is a good thing.
Yeah.
Like helping. Kids need to learn how to help others out and serving others.
I think for me, like, I feel like I'm just learning this because I was always I did everything, like for a lot of reasons. I felt like this is my job. This is what I need to do. I do the laundry and I do the dishes and I'm a stay-at-home mom and that's what I do. And I always thought, I want to teach my kids to do that. But it was really hard for me to require things of them. Like I had to learn that. And I think I didn't learn that until I felt like I was so overwhelmed. Like I had a phase of time where I was just like, I can't do this.
Do it all,
like, this is so exhausting. And I realized, I'm like, Colette, you cleaned the boys' room for them. What did you do? I can named off these things and I'm like, there's no way my parents would have done that for me.
Yeah.
And not in a bad way, but like, oh my gosh, I need to require, it's not bad to require that your kids do things and it will help them in the long run. So I made a chore list. I have these 3x5 cards and I wrote out like what you do in each room, like specifically, because I would hate when I'd be like, hey, clean this room. And then I go in, I'm like, that is not clean.
That is not clean
to my requirements, you know? So I'm like, okay. But then I would do it. Then I would finish it. So I'm like, no, Colette, you can require this. So I would make a total list. Like
that's smart, yeah.
It's a full list of like the dusting down to the baseboards. Like this is what you do by day, by week. And I was very meticulous and I said, okay, this is what you do. And so each day or each week they have like a list of them, like a couple cards on each one. And it doesn't always all get done, but I've noticed that, just requiring that of them, because we're in all these activities, but when, we have some downtime, I'm like, okay, are your chores done? Or like, no TV, go to your chores. And I don't have to tell them what to do because they already see it.
Yeah.
And it was awesome because when I started doing this, like even Brock, he did his chore and he said, Mom, I'm done with my chore. So I went and checked it and he did it like according to the instructions. So I was like, oh my gosh. Like I was so proud of him.
It's working, a mom moment, mom breakthrough.
And and I think he felt so proud of himself. He was like, I did it and look at Mom's face.
I feel like there was some book or something that we had read on the Mom's Room. Maybe it was something that Jackson read to me. It was by a guy named Jordan Peterson. It was like the 12 Rules for Life. He's a psychiatrist or a therapist. I can't remember. Anyways, he's amazing. He was talking about like teaching your kids fundamentals and he said, how can your kids rise to the occasion if you don't set the occasion for them to rise to? And kids, without even telling you, they need to feel like they have a purpose and that they are needed. So if they have these chores, that's their purpose and that's how they are needed and that's their role that they play into the family, and that is so important for kids. And not enough kids have that these days. I was like, that is so true. So by us not doing that, requiring that is actually not helping them.
Right.
So Give your kids chores, they need it.
She mentioned that she wants to give her children what she didn't have. And I think that is a common thing too.
Yeah.
If you didn't get something, then you want to make up for that with your kids. And I think it's okay. If you want to buy your kids something, buy it for them.
Yeah.
If that is like something that will make you feel good. Sometimes I see something for Braylee and I'm so excited to buy it for her. And sometimes it's a giant letdown.
Because you're more excited for them than,
But if you want to buy it, you know, you can. And I think you said that, like, she's aware of it. You're aware of it. And I think that your kids will not be spoiled brats.
Yeah. Being aware is a whole different ballgame.
Sometimes I'm aware and sometimes I feel like, are my kids entitled?
Yeah.
Like to having a phone? that I'm
Teaching
gonna take
them
away?
even just basic things like manners. Like we've made a rule with birthdays. I'm so annoying, but before Cooper goes to any birthday or he has a birthday, I literally sit down with him and make him give me eye contact and be like, here's the rules for opening presents. You open the present, you make eye contact with that person. You thank them for what they got you. Not a present, but what they got you so that you're aware and you go and hug them. Because sometimes I feel like kids are just ripping through. And then I'm like, is that even healthy? Because I'm more worried about hurting people's feelings than the kids are.
But you're also teaching them to show gratitude.
Yeah.
You know, like it's a work in progress. You have to teach them those things sometimes. It just doesn't automatically come.
Yeah.
I feel like everything we talked about today is like finding balance in all things, and it's so hard.
true.
It's so hard to find balance.
Because at the end of the day, kids are kids, and you also have to allow them to be kids, you know?
And parents are parents, and
Right.
we don't do things perfectly, and that's okay.
I mean, I'm so perfect.
And I think even when you think like, maybe I have this down, then they, you know, your kids change
reality
or
hits
something
you and
and
you're
life
like-
changes and then you're like, okay, here we go again. Try to find the balance in this. So
It's like the humility process or the pride cycle, you know, like, yeah, you're on top of the world, you're feeling good, and then something knocks you down, you're like, oh, I suck, I'm the worst. Oh wait, I'm doing better, okay, here we go. And then it's just like around and around you go.
so true.
Yes.
Yeah. So just know that we're on your side. We see where you're coming from. We love you and we think that you're doing a great job. Thank you so much for watching today. We'll see you next time. Bye.